Today we've got a very much requested video on how to get better results for your AI clients. Now, it's a service delivery video because I understand there's probably a lot of you watching this who have concerns and worries about whether or not you can actually deliver on what you say you can to your clients. So I'm gonna make sure that I don't leave any stones unturned with this video. There's a ton of absolute crucial information you need to watch. We're going to cover, everything from the onboarding process, how to automate it, operations and organization, CRM, how to build chatbots. It's going to be crazy, so much value. I'll put timestamps in this video, so if you're struggling with one particular area, you can just skip to that. Now, I wanted to start with a quote from John D. Rockefeller. Now, he said, "The ability to deal with people is as purchasable as a commodity as sugar or coffee." Now, the only way to win, and I mean win, in the agency game, is to provide a service so good that it changes your client's business and potentially their life. And it's statistically proven that it's also 5 times more expensive to get a new client compared to just retain the client you have. And if you want the most profits and you want the most, or you just want an easy, life, then I recommend watching this because it's going to give you the right knowledge and systems basically to deliver an amazing service, because that's sort of the best way to go about this and build an agency. So let's talk about the first 24 hours. Now, upon signing a client, the first 24 hours, in my opinion, are make or break, because that client, or the thought process they're going to be having is, have they made a good decision? And trust me, you do not want a client thinking that they've made, it's a regret of working with you in the first 24 hours, because they're going to get to know you, they're going to get to see what you're about in that time frame. So you really want to set a good impression, and you can do that straight away by having a streamlined onboarding process. It's really smooth, really easy, and it just shows how professional and great your service is. So what I use to do that is make.com. Now, if you don't know what this software is, it's basically an alternative to Zapier. You probably know what Zapier is, Zapier, same thing. But this is basically a cheaper and just so much simpler version of that. And it's really easy to do. So what you should do is when you get on a call and you've closed the client on a sales call, right after, obviously they've paid you via Stripe, but the problem with that is that we can't set up a trigger as Stripe to run the rest of the automations, like the welcome email, like the getting that added to the Notion. But what we can do is we're going to create a Calendly event type. So in your Calendly, you should have a onboarding strategy call. Now that will be 24 hours, from when you're speaking to them, after, as soon as they sign and pay you the money. 24 hours after, you're going to have your strategy call. Now, once they schedule that strategy call, we can basically automate the rest of it. So what I like to do is create an event type. So triggers when an event is created or cancelled. You would put this as onboarding call. So once they paid you, you're going to get them on the first call to schedule an onboarding call. And once that onboarding call has been scheduled, then we can do the automation. So what it's going to add is going to add them to Notion. Now, Notion is is basically how I manage and keep my, everything organized, because I've got a lot of clients, over 50 at this point. So it's really important as you scale, you need to keep this organized, and you need to, basically do what I'm about to show you. So essentially you could do, update a database. So it's just going to add them. And once again, you just need to connect your Notion to make.com. It's really easy. I've just created a brand new one as an onboarding example to show you how it works. But you can also add them to like Google Sheets. That's probably something I would recommend. Now, that's just, once again, to keep it organized. If I can get that. So Google Sheets, add a row, whatever. I think you get the point. You can get creative with this, but it's really important. Another one is actually very quickly is going to be Gmail. So you basically want to send an email. So you can basically send an email here. Obviously, you need to put your subject, put the content. So when someone pays you and they schedule the onboarding call, they're going to get a welcome email. It's just going to look good, if you know what I mean, because if you can set a good impression, that is so important, as I talked about, because the first 24 hours is, really important. So Once you've done that, that is basically how you automate the onboarding process. I'm not going to make it like 20 minutes because, once again, it's completely free to use. Make.com, you can get creative with this. I just wanted to show you roughly what you could do. Now, let's talk about operations and organization. So, a CRM. Now, a CRM is a customer relationship management. This is how you're going to manage and keep track of all your clients and, the leads they're getting, just everything you need. So, there's two that I would recommend, and you can combine them. So high level. So if you don't know what Go High Level is, it's basically that. It's a CRM. You can keep track. So what you would do is you'd go over here. You'd create a sub account for your client, and that's when you can manage all their conversations, calendars, contacts, opportunities, marketing automation. And if you want to build them a chatbot, I can also explain later in this video how we can do that on high level, depending on what your niche is, which is going to be really interesting. So definitely keep watching, because I'm going to cover some pretty important stuff, you could say. So as a CRM, another underrated one is Notion. This is literally what I'm recording this video on right now. Now, Notion, what I recommend you doing right after this video is creating an internal workspace. Now, that is not only for the back end, so delivering the service, but also on the front end, managing your team, seeing how tasks are getting done, because once again, it's going to keep organization. So, for example, I've got one for my agency, Cab Media, and then also for my online coaching business, Agency Start, and it looks like this. So, for example, we've got, you can keep your client hub and checklist. You can, priorities, contracts. You can keep everything in one space. So when we click on it, it literally, it's easy to find, and you don't get, lost in this massive, you don't really know what to do. So for example, daily must-dos. For example, one of my ones is to check the virtual assistants and their tracking sheets for my clients. So for example, what this looks like is I've got all my clients here and the, trained appointment setters of who they're working with. So for example, we've got Ryan, Calvin, Orlando, Jack. These are all people who are working for my clients and getting them appointments for both agency owners and fitness coaches and just other coaches in general. But long story short, it's really nice that, and I'm not going to click on any of the clients because I don't want to leak anything. But for example, let's just talk about a Discord VA, Trixia, that's her name. It's really nice to have, all in one place, but it's got the tracking sheet, so you can keep track and organize really easily. So I definitely recommend doing this. And once again, you can create a make.com automation. So when someone fills out the onboarding form, which is actually crucial, so I should have put that in here. You need to, in this Gmail, to be honest, you can put in this you can put an onboarding form. So just go to Google Forms and create some questions or information you need. Because in the onboarding form, that's where you gather all the information, so you can start working, with actually doing the automations and creating the chatbots, etc. So, create an automation to send them the onboarding form and basically automate this Notion thing, so they get automatically added to this Notion when they schedule the onboarding call, if that makes sense. That's probably the easiest way to go about it, and it'll just add a row in this database, you could say, which is really nice, and it keeps track of everything. So now let's talk about how to build a chatbot. What softwares do you use? Now, there's a bunch of different softwares you can use to build a really solid chatbot for your agency. Now, I do want to say this really comes down to what niche and service, more niche of what you're providing, because there's different chatbots or different softwares, I should say, that are better for certain tasks. Now, for example, let's say a client wants, an Instagram bot or a Facebook bot who, when someone messages their Instagram, they get, a conversation going, but it's a bot. You wouldn't use, you could use VoiceFlow and Stack AI, which I'll talk about in a minute, but it would probably be much simpler to use ManyChat or, yes, a software like that, which is a much more simpler and cheaper one, compared to if you are providing a website chatbot, then it would make sense to go for VoiceFlow and Stack AI. So you sort of combine these two. Now, VoiceFlow is, and I get asked a lot, is BotPress good? And in my opinion, from my experience of using BotPress, it's way too buggy. And sometimes when I would save a prompt, it wouldn't save it, and it just kept lagging basically. So I'm not a huge fan of BotPress. I think it's way too expensive. VoiceFlow is so much better. It's literally $50 a month. And what you can do is once you sign a client and you have the cash flow, then you can invest in, things like voice flow, Stack AI, because this is a bit more expensive. But when you combine these two, it's really good for building a chatbot, and it gives you 5,000 runs per month, and you can do up to 3 projects, which is really good. It's pretty insane. But essentially, you just need to add a knowledge base. So yeah, that's pretty easy to do. But that's what you basically can put in the onboarding form as well if you want to make it a bit easier. But BotPress isn't the best. I recommend using VoiceFlow and Stack AI if you're creating a website chatbot. And any other chatbot like a Facebook, Messenger one, or an Instagram or SMS, you can just use high level. And how you do that is you go here, you go to automation, and I'll show you an example of what one will look like. So to be honest, it really comes down to what niche you're working with and what they want. Now, you figure out what they want before actually signing them as a client, because how your sales call should go is you should have a questioning process, then you should have your pitch, and then you should have the objection handling. But in the questioning process, which is the first 20 minutes of the sales call, that is when you ask them what they are looking for, what problems they have, where they are currently, where they want to be in X amount of time, and just getting to understand their business. Because, for example, some clients may want a Facebook bot, whereas others may want a website bot, and there's different softwares to use for each one. As explained, for like SMS, Facebook, and Instagram, I recommend using ManyChat. You can use VoiceFlow, high level, but if it's a website bot, then it would be VoiceFlow and Stack AI, in my opinion, over BotPress. So basically, to create an AI bot on high level, it's really easy. Let's just click on one to show you what it looks like. Hopefully this is actually going to give me one, because I think it's one I've demonstrated in the past on my channel. Once it loads, okay, here we go. So let's talk about this. Let's go to Builder. Here we go. So this may look really complicated, but this is a really simple bot for high level. So basically, when someone gets an IGDM, SMS, or a chat widget, and you can also add Facebook DM, what it's going to be is it's going to send the prompt to ChatGPT and get a response, and then it's going to send an Instagram DM back. Same with email, same with chat widget, and same with SMS. It's going to wait, and if the customer replies, then it's going to do one thing where it basically goes through the process of like a more response to try to get them booked in for an appointment, and then it would wait, and then if they don't respond to that, then it basically just gets them on this automation. But if they don't respond, then it's going to wait, and it's going to send the follow-up. So for example, this SMS, I'm not sure if I put in an example, but it would basically just be a response, and ChatGPT would get an answer. But you basically said, or you should have said to get them on an appointment. So you would have given them the Canny link for your client, or the website, or whatever you're offering. But essentially what my point is that for IGDMs, SMS, and then Facebook, high level is the way to go, because it's so much easier than, it's just easy to create basically, and you can just copy this. You basically just add a new workflow. We've got a bunch of different ones, and then just create conditions. So you do that by having an if else. IGDM. It's not that complicated. I've created a really long, hour-long training on high level and how to do all of this in the past. You can check out my other video for that. It was probably a month ago, maybe I made it, but I'm not going to go too much in depth. I just wanted to give you an overview of what to do for that. But then for a website chatbot, so for example, let's say you're working with e-com brands, or maybe real estate, and you're providing a chatbot, then VoiceFlow, which is $50 a month, and then Stack AI. Those are the two that I definitely recommend. And once again, there's a bunch of YouTube videos out there, for completely free on how to use this. But to be honest, the main way you're going to learn service delivery is by doing, which is empirical knowledge, which I'll talk about at the end. But let's talk about the importance of communication. Now, I cannot express the importance of this actually. Now, people think that in order to deliver good service, you need to get them results. And that is kind of true. Obviously, getting them money and saving them time is really helpful, but building a relationship, and once again, as John said, it's literally the ability to deal with people and build a relationship, essentially make them your friend. they're going to be so much more likely to continue working with you because you've treated them well and you communicate with them. So yeah, say good morning and give them an update on what you've been doing. It really goes, like, you may think the small things don't matter, but they do. And for communication, I don't recommend using you can use WhatsApp. I do it for some of my clients depending on the demographic, on how old they are, but I recommend Slack. Slack's a good one. Yeah, Slack or WhatsApp probably, depending on how old they are. But yeah, Slack's completely free and it's good for managing teams. So now I want to talk about additional value propositions to add to your backend to get better results. So in my opinion, a chatbot is great for saving the person time, but I think if you can go the extra mile and include even more value and over deliver, you can basically not only get more money in the future, but you can charge more as well. So what I mean by this is, think about right now, what can you add in your service delivery that doesn't take much time, but can get them more appointments, get them more clients, and without you having to do too much extra work. For example, if you've got high level, or let's say a client pays you, you can get high level and do a database reactivation, which is basically sending an SMS blast. It's an automation sending an SMS blast emails to their old client list to basically get them interested in your client's offer and make them money in the first week. So what that does is it's got a front end and a back end to your offer now. So you're not just saving them time, but you're also actually making your client money. And that's just something you can add to over deliver in value. So I think, how long have I done? So this video has been longer than expected. I probably shouldn't have talked that much, but my final thoughts is that the only way you can truly get good at service delivery is by actually doing it for a client. And I've talked about that in my last video. And to be honest, like, your doubts of your service will manifest into the rest of your business. Now, sales, so getting a client and getting them to give you thousands, is purely based on, like, it's a transfer of energy. So humans are very good at picking up on when, another human isn't confident. So what I would recommend doing, and I talked about this in my last video, is if you're a complete beginner, I recommend getting a client on a low retainer and just getting really good at the service delivery. Because I can tell you how to do all of this, and hopefully this video helped a bit, but you're not going to get good unless you actually do it. So that's what I'd recommend. And if you're struggling to sign clients and book meetings, it's probably because you're having doubts and you're not too confident in your product, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't recommend free trials because they won't really take you seriously, but make them pay for the software costs and just learn through doing it that way. If you have friends or family who are, who you can do it for, amazing. That's how you get good. And that's how you get confident in your service delivery. But nonetheless, hopefully this video helped. And very quickly, if you want trained appointment setters, so let's say you're an agency owner and you're struggling to book meetings, I do have a few more trained VAs who are very good at what they do, which is basically booking meetings and sending LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram DMs for you. They do about 100 a day typically, and they usually book about 1 to 2 meetings per day, qualified for like agency owners and coaches. So if you want that, then book a call. I'll leave a link in the description. It'll be the first one. I don't care if you do or don't. It's just there if you need some help with client acquisition, so getting clients for your agency. So hopefully this video helped. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if it did. And yeah, I look forward to providing more value on this channel. We've hit 5k subs, which is awesome. So thank you very much. And if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, please. And yeah, hopefully this video helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.